Hey community, it's Ryan Frank and welcome to episode number 167 of the KidzMatter Podcast. I'm Ryan Frank, the co-founder and publisher here at KidzMatter, and thank you so much for your time and for your attention. Hey, big news in the KidMin space. We just announced our 2025 KidzMatter Retreat. It is happening in Indianapolis, Indiana on April 29th and 30th, and I hope to see you there. This is a smaller event with just a few hundred people, worship, training sessions, encouragement, networking opportunities, coffee. It's going to be a great time, just a relaxed retreat environment with Beth and I and our KidzMatter team, and hopefully you. So go over to KidMinRetreat.com, and that will forward you to our Eventbrite page where you can see the schedule, the costs. For those of you that received golden tickets at the KidzMatter conference, you get 2 free tickets to the retreat. Those of you that are KidzMatter Pro members, you can bring somebody with you. You can both get a ticket for $99. And for everybody else, the cost is $250. So it pays to be a KidzMatter Pro member. If nothing else, start that free trial to get your $99 tickets. We'd love to have you at our retreat, April 29th and 30th in Indianapolis, Indiana. Once again, go to KidMinRetreat.com. Hey, hundreds of you have taken me up on my free offer. In fact, nearly 1,000 of you already in just a few weeks. With the free book that I'm giving you, my KidzMatter Playbook. This is a 168-page full-color book that I'm offering to the community if you'll help me pay for printing and shipping. So for just $9.95, which we actually lose a couple dollars, but it almost gets us to break even, I want to ship you a copy of this book in the mail. What you need to do is go to KidzMatterPlaybook.com, put a Z in KidzMatter, KidzMatterPlaybook.com. Give me your information, reserve your copy for $9.95, helping us pay for the printing of the book and shipping. We will send you a copy of the book. You're going to love the KidzMatter Playbook. It really outlines what we talk about in KidzMatter Pro. And it's really part of our conversation today on the KidzMatter Podcast. So while we are at the KidzMatter conference, I gave some of our KidzMatter Pro members an opportunity to join me for a 3-week masterclass, a 3-part masterclass around the KidzMatter Playbook. We just had our first masterclass today. We had a ton of people online with us, great interaction, great questions, and I've decided to share this first masterclass with you on today's podcast. So when you read the KidzMatter Playbook, you're going to see the secrets to leading a growing and healthy ministry to kids and families. And they are found in understanding the 3 foundations you have to have in place, which are a healthy leader, a passionate team, and robust systems. And from those 3 foundations, a leader, a team, and good systems, come these progress points or habits that you have to develop in your life. So in today's masterclass, I went deep with our KidzMatter Pro members on the progress points of a healthy leader. So we talk about everything from being self-aware to staying productive and so much more. I think you're going to find a lot of value from my training as well as the Q&A at the end. So I hope that you enjoy this replay from today's KidzMatter Playbook Masterclass. And once again, if you have not received or claimed a copy of the KidzMatter Playbook, get them before they are gone. Go to KidzMatterPlaybook.com. Thanks again for tuning in to today's KidzMatter Podcast. Let's get this show on the road. Hope that you enjoy. It's great to see y'all getting logged in. What's up, Lynn, Sherry, Jeannie? I am not working off of a camera today. I'm working off my laptop, sitting up on a stand. And so I'm getting old, and it's harder for me to see. I don't know if any of you are old like me, pushing 50 years old, and your eyes don't work quite like they used to. So, and I've got bifocals on top of that. So I am really trying to see all your names on the screen, but I see a bunch of you popping up. What's up, Vicky, Troy, Carrie, Stacy, Sherry, Lynn, Catherine, Jeannie, Erin, Ed, Angie. Boy, there's a lot of you logging in here. What's up, Liz? Great to see Dean, Dale, Carrie. What's up, Kurt? We've got Bruce on here. Hey, glad that y'all are here. Welcome to today's training. This is the first part of a 3-part masterclass. Now, we are recording these First and foremost, let me just make sure that I did push record. Okay, I did. We are recording these master classes. Each one of them will be posted inside of the KidzMatter Pro membership site. So if you are unable to join us for all three, you can always go back and watch these later. I really am not expecting very many of you to show up for all three because I know everybody is busy. But hey, again, these are being recorded. So if you can join us live, that's great because we'll do some Q&A at the end. And yeah, I just want to let you know that I'm glad that you are here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us. Give me 1 second here. All right, very good. Thank you for letting me take care of a housekeeping item. Let me give you a little bit of expectation of what we have planned and what you can expect over our time together. First and foremost, we are talking through the KidzMatter Playbook. Now, I don't want to assume that y'all have a copy of the KidzMatter Playbook. So if you don't have one, I'm sending them out for free right now if you help me pay for printing and shipping. So you just go to KidzMatterPlaybook.com, KidzMatterPlaybook.com. And when you're at KidzMatterPlaybook.com, you can see that you can claim your free copy of this book. This is, how many of you have the book? Would you chat and let me know if you have it? Chat to everyone. Now, when you push that chat button, you should see that you have the option of chatting to just the panelists, that's me, or you can chat to everyone. Make sure to push everyone. Good. And if you have the book, good. Shay got it at the conference. Awesome. You don't have to have it with you as I teach, but I'm going to be referring to pages in the book. If you do not have the book and you have not ordered the book, please go to KidzMatterPlaybook.com. This is a 168-page full color playbook that I am shipping for free. I have 2 pallets of these here at the office. We've already worked our way through about half of one of the pallets just in the last week or two. And my goal in the next 3 months, December, January, February, is to get rid of all of these books and just to bless the community with them. So if you can help us cover $9.95, that pays for the printing of the book, postage, the box. We actually lose a couple dollars, but you really help us about break even by paying $10 for printing and shipping of the book. So go to KidzMatterPlaybook.com. I'm glad to see that y'all have it. Angie's planning on ordering one. Wonderful. Ed, you got yours at the conference. Catherine, don't have yours yet. All right, well, Catherine, get it ordered if you haven't already. We are shipping more of these out even today. Also wanted to remind you, and I hope that you have been receiving my emails, that we do have dates planned for our 2025 retreat. It is April 29th and 30th. The website is kmretreat.eventbrite.com. And let me get close to my computer here for just a minute. If you're just logging in, I told you earlier that I don't have, there we go. Okay, I don't have a camera set up today. I'm working off of my laptop on a table. Okay. So there we go. There's a link. That's the long link, but you can also just do kmretreat.eventbrite.com. But for those of you that are golden ticket holders, you received a golden ticket at the conference. Are any of you golden ticket holders? If you are, let me know in the chat. I want to remind you that you get 2 free tickets to this retreat, totally free. All right. Oh, we got some golden ticket holders. Shay, Ed, look at all that. Stacy, Sherry, Lynn. Wonderful. If you are not a golden ticket holder, Jonathan already has your 2 tickets. That's great. You're a member of KidzMatter Pro because, or you wouldn't be on this call. You can come to the retreat for $99. Now, for everybody else in the KidMin community, it's $250 for the retreat. It is free for golden ticket holders, $99 for KidzMatter Pro members. We really want to keep adding value to your KidzMatter Pro membership, and $250 for everybody else. Get registered. We have decided we were going to do this at our office here in Marion. We can only accommodate 80 people for conferences and events. We do have a big room. Not a lot of you have been to our office before. We have a large training room that seats 80, but we've had so much interest in this retreat that we are doing it at a church that we are good friends with in Indianapolis, and it's going to be a wonderful experience. We're going to have worship. We're going to have sessions. We'll enjoy some coffee together. It's going to be great. We'll probably have 300 people there. They can do about 400, but that's every seat full in their auditorium. And we want to have a little breathing room in between seats. So, I anticipate that we'll have 300 of you there. And when it sells out, it sells out. So make sure to get your spot saved, kmretreat.eventbrite.com. If I was on it, I would just have like KidzMatterRetreat.com that would forward there. But we haven't got to that yet. So I also put a link for those of you that just logged in. Scroll up through the chat. You will see a link to the retreat. Yes, Ed. At the conference, I said that you got one free ticket to the retreat. But post-conference, I heard from so many of you that got golden tickets. Like, man, I really want to bring my husband. I really want to bring my wife. Some of you have a new person on your team that you want to bring. And when we got the larger venue, it just made sense to bless all of you golden ticket holders with 2 tickets instead of 1. So little extra value. Okay, wonderful. Well, let's jump in and get started. Welcome to today's training. This is the first of 3 master classes. I anticipate these lasting about an hour, although I'm going to take some time at the end for Q&A, and I'll be on here as long as we need to be. I'm not going to be teaching all day, but I will stay on as long as I need to answer your questions. Use the Q&A button, please, if you have questions. The questions don't have to relate to what I'm teaching on today. They can, but they don't have to. And you don't have to wait until the end to post your questions. So just use that Q&A button on your screen, and you can start posting questions at any time. Today, what I'm going to talk to you about is the healthy leader, which I'll set the foundation. I'll rewind in just a minute. Friday, I'm going to talk about your team. And Monday next week, I'm going to talk about systems. But let me kind of rewind and paint the picture. If you have read the playbook, or if you were at the conference, you heard me kind of teach the principles of the playbook. Now, y'all are early adopters to this. I want to let you know that this is going to be a huge part of what we push and emphasize and teach in 2025 at KidzMatter. In our webinars, in KidMin Academy, at the conference, is this playbook right here. So starting in the new year, you're going to be seeing me doing a lot of webinars around the KidzMatter Playbook. And I'm going to come at it from different angles. And so when you see these webinars being promoted in January, February, March, please do not think, well, I already did Ryan's masterclass. I don't need that content, or I already read the book. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to come at this from different angles all through the year. I really want my heart behind this is that the KidMin community, the larger KidMin community, understands the importance of these 3 foundations if you want to move from where you are at right now to where you want to be. Okay, so this is you right now. Now, you may be I didn't ask you where y'all were joining from. I recognize a lot of your names. We've got a lot of Ohio, Tennessee people on here, the Carolinas. If you want to chat and tell us where you're from, that'd be great. Chat to everyone. I see a couple of you. I know a Crystal is in California. We have a couple Crystals, not Crystal Panic, but so tell me where we've got a lot of Midwest, but we've also got people out, or Mideast, but a lot of people out West. Okay, very good. Jonathan's here in Indiana. So I'm not talking about where you are right now geographically. I'm talking about where you are in your ministry journey. And here's the thing. Everybody wants to be a part of a ministry that is growing and healthy. Nobody wants to be a part of a ministry that is flatlined or in decline. Okay, nobody wants this. And I don't want this for you. So I got a new whiteboard for this training. It's really cool. This dry erase marker is magnetic, and it's kind of weird. It's heavy. It's got a neat feel. So if you, it's kind of weirding me out a little bit. I'm going to put it right there. Okay. Everybody wants to lead a growing, healthy ministry. But how do you do it? Well, this is what the KidzMatter Playbook is all about. By the way, have you read the playbook yet? If you've read the playbook, would you let me know? It is the little things, Troy and Carrie. I don't know if this is Troy or Carrie, if you both are on here, but that is very true. Have you read the playbook? Let me know if you've read the playbook. I'm curious. If you have, or if you were at the KidzMatter conference, you heard me talk about that the road to a growing, healthy ministry is paved with 3 foundations. You have to have 3 foundations in place. And that is, the first foundation is you've got to be, I'm going to put HL up here. You have to be a healthy leader yourself. If you want to, great. Stacy has started it. Wonderful. The other Stacy has started reading it. Okay, very good. If you want to lead a growing, healthy ministry, it starts by being a healthy leader yourself. And then you have to have, I'm going to put PT in the next box. You have to have a passionate team. All right, you have to have a passionate team. So I'll put one person here because this is you. This is the healthy leader. Then you got to have a passionate team. Okay, so I'll draw a few people on here. This is your team. If you're going to lead a growing, healthy ministry, requires a team. And then in the third box, I'm going to put an RS for robust systems. You've got to have robust systems in place. Systems are how you do things. This right here is your structure. Structure, when we talk about structure, we're talking about people. When we talk about systems, we're talking about how we actually do things. This is who does them, who, my team and I. Systems is the what do we do and how do we do it. So you have to have all 3 of these foundations in place if you're going to lead a growing, healthy ministry. If you have your KidzMatter Playbook, this is page 18, where I start to unpack this. That the 3 foundations of ministry growth and health are found in Foundation 1, a healthy leader, that's page 18. Foundation 2, a passionate team, that's page 19. And then page 20 is our robust systems. So you've got to have all of these if you're going to lead a growing, healthy ministry. Now let me flip this around because I want to show it to you this way. If you were at KidzMatter at the conference, you saw me illustrate this for you like this. So you've got the healthy leader, you've got the passionate team, and then you have robust systems. Okay. Now, what happens if you have 2 of these but not the other? If you have a leader and a team, but you don't have systems, you are going to have, I put the wrong thing on here. Let me find my little eraser here. Okay. If you have a leader and team, but you don't have systems, you're going to have chaos. Okay? Because you got great people, but without systems, there's a lot of confusion around who does what and how do we do it. Now, you can have a team of volunteers in systems, but no leader, and you have chaos. Okay? Let's put it like this. Let's say that you are, any of you have taken a cruise? Have you ever gone on a cruise ship? Maybe Royal Caribbean or what are they, Carnival or Disney cruise? Have you ever done a cruise? Okay, think about the leader as the captain of the cruise ship. Think about the team as all the people working the crew on board. And the systems are the GPS and where are we going and how do we do things? How do we feed all these people? And how do we keep this place clean and safe and all that? If you have the captain of the ship and you have a crew, but you don't have a good GPS or systems in place, you're going to have chaos on that cruise ship, aren't you? Right? If you have a crew and you have systems, but there's no captain in charge, you're going to have chaos. Well, what if you have a captain and you have the systems on this cruise ship, but you don't have a crew and the captain has to do everything? What's going to happen to the captain is the captain is going to collapse. And the same is true for you in ministry. Okay. If there's a team of volunteers, if you have a leader, if you're the leader and you've got good systems, you're organized, but you lack a team, you are going to collapse or burn out. Now, the secret, and I talk about this on page number 21, those of you just logging in, if you have your KidzMatter Playbook, get it out because we're referring to it, please. If you don't have KidzMatter Playbook, go to KidzMatterPlaybook.com and order one. They're free right now if you help us pay for printing and shipping. $9.95. I'll send you this book for free, and we'll get it out to you probably in the next 24 hours. It'll be on the way to you. In fact, no probably about it. If you order today, it will be out in the next 24 hours. Okay? 24 out the door. 24 out the door. Look at page 21 at the bottom. When you have a healthy leader and a passionate team and robust systems, what happens right here in the middle, right here, is this is the linchpin to growth and health. So you as a leader, and this is what we're going to talk about today, Friday, Monday, whether you watch these Zoom sessions, masterclass with me live, or you watch the recordings later, what we're going to do is we're going to help you learn the importance of balancing all three or juggling all three of these balls at one time. You've got to make sure you are giving time to yourself as a healthy leader, and you don't let that ball drop. You also have to make sure, if you could pretend that I'm juggling, I don't know how to juggle. That's why I don't have balls in here to juggle with. But if I did pretend like one of the three balls that I'm juggling right now is the team, you've got to give attention to your team, and you can't let that ball drop. For some of you, you don't have a problem with taking care of yourself and your team because you're so people oriented. What you struggle with are the systems. And it's easy for you, if you're not careful, that ball drops. Well, the problem is you don't want any of these balls to drop, or else you're going to find yourself having a ministry that's chaotic. I wrote chaos on here twice. Nobody caught that. Okay. I don't know if I said it wrong. I might have said it wrong earlier. Okay. Let's rewind. If you you probably said something to me about it in the chat, but because I can't see and my bifocals, I can't see the screen very well. I can't see your feedback from this far back. If you have a leader and a team, but no systems, it's chaos. If you have a team and systems, but no leader, the C word here is confusion. Confusion. Sorry about that. Confusion is the word. Okay. Everybody's going to be confused. You've got a great team of volunteers and curriculum and all this kind of stuff for them, but no leader, confusion. So if you don't want chaos, if you don't want confusion, thank you for showing me grace on that point, everybody. And if you don't want to collapse, you've got to learn how to keep these three balls up in the air at the same time. Okay, so let's rewind, let's rewind. Let's erase this and let's flip our chart back over, our whiteboard back over. Here, okay, so those three circles, there we go. You see them reflected in these three foundations. If you want to move from here to here, if you want to lead a growing and healthy ministry, which who doesn't? Everybody does. You've got to make sure that you are giving attention to the foundation of a healthy leader, a passionate team, and robust systems. Now, are you all with me on this? Okay. I would love to get some feedback from you. Let's start with this feedback question. Which one of these do you feel like you need to work on the most? Let me know in the chat. and chat to everyone, not just the hosts and panelists. Do you feel like right now, like if there's one of these I really need to focus on the most, it's myself as a leader, or is it my team, or is it our systems? Okay, yeah, keep those chats coming. Okay, we've got a good mix coming in. Healthy leader, Catherine, I just get too busy. Crystal, our systems. Stacy, systems. Ed, the team. Building a team. Aaron, very good. Caleb, all the above can be an option. Yes, it can. Thank you for being vulnerable and honest. Vicky, systems. Stacy, team, systems. Jonathan, team and system. Okay, so let's see here. All right, I'm about ready to deep dive into the healthy leader, but before I do, take your book and look at page number 55. We're fast forwarding now to page 55. And by the way, first of all, go to page 54. If you want to see this pretty, go to page 54, because there you will see it pretty right there. That's the image we had on the slides at the KidzMatter conference. If you were with us in that session Wednesday morning at the KidzMatter conference. So look at this. You've got the healthy leader. You've got a passionate team, robust systems. Now, from these 3 foundations, you have 12 progress points or 12 habits. So we have 4 for each one. 4 progress points for each one. I'm going to make them look like flags. Okay. 4 progress points or habits for passionate teams, healthy leaders, and robust systems. Now, these can be, I lay them out for you on page 55, very next page. So there are 4 progress points of a leader. We're going to talk about these today. First column, page 55, they are cultivating self-awareness, building rapport with people, growing your communication skills, boosting your productivity. Now, by the way, there are 12 progress points. Those of you that are brand new to KidzMatter Pro, you're new members to KidzMatter Pro, welcome. Glad you're part of KidzMatter Pro. This is the curriculum of KidzMatter Pro, okay? So every month, we focus on one of these 12 progress points as a community inside of KidzMatter Pro. So I teach a mastery module the first week of every month on that progress point. On the second week of every month, we have a master class taught by somebody outside of KidzMatter on that progress point. The third week of the month, we do a members only podcast. Guess what the topic is? That progress point. Okay. We do that third week of the month. We rotate every other month between group coaching sessions and member makeovers. And guess what we hit? One of the things we hit, that progress point of the month. So it's our theme as we go through the month are each of these progress points. Now, in real time, as I'm recording this, December 2024, we are talking about progress point number 9, which is evaluating your systems. This is what we're talking about during the month of December, evaluating your systems. Talk more about that on Monday in Masterclass, KidzMatter Playbook Masterclass number 3. So what we're going to focus on today is we're going to focus on the progress points of a healthy leader. Actually, I might just leave this here for just a minute as a point of reference. Okay, very, very good. So let's look at page 63. Page number 63. If you are just logging in, a couple things. Welcome. We are glad that you are here. If you have your KidzMatter Playbook, we are referencing the KidzMatter Playbook quite a bit, so get it out. You don't have to have it. If you do not have the KidzMatter Playbook, go to KidzMatterPlaybook.com. You know to put a Z in KidzMatter and request a copy of the KidzMatter Playbook. You can get it for free right now if you'll help us pay for printing and postage. So we have 4 progress points of a healthy leader. The first progress point is cultivating self-awareness. That's really on page number 61, the page before this, cultivating self-awareness. What is self-awareness? In a nutshell, self-awareness is seeing yourself for who you really are and the way God wired you. The way, the way Rick Warren talks about the way God shaped you, the way he shaped you, SHAPE. It's the gifts that God gave you, the personality that God gave you, the leadership style that God gave you. If, in our office over the last 6 months, we've been drilling deep into the Patrick Lencioni's working genius. It's your working genius. It's your Myers-Briggs personality, right? It's who you are. Being self-aware. If I'm really self-aware, I resist the temptation to posture and to pretend to be something that I'm not. And a lot of ministry leaders do this. A lot of leaders in general do this, and a lot of people do this. We compare ourselves to each other. We compare our ministries to another ministry. We compare our church with another church in the denomination across town or in another city in our state. And it gets the best of us. Self-awareness is recognizing, what God has wired you and I with unique strengths, gifts, and abilities. Now, if you have studied The Working Genius, which I don't know if I have one. I'm looking at my bookshelf here in my office. I see some other Lencioni books, but I don't know that I have a Working Genius book in here. If you have studied The Working Genius, you know that there are what Patrick Lencioni says are 6 geniuses, okay? And the way I remember them is the acronym WIDGET, okay? So you have, first of all, the working genius of wonder, and I'll unpack these in a minute. I need to move something on my screen. I want to make sure that y'all are seeing my entire whiteboard. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. You can get the reflection off of the window. Okay, perfect. The working genius of wonder. Then you have the working genius of invention. And then you have number 3, the working genius of galvanizer. Galvanizer. Then you have the working genius of enablement. And then you have the working genius of tenacity. Okay? Now, I don't remember if I talk about, I think I've probably reference the working genius in the book, but I don't think I drilled deep into it. And I don't intend on drilling really deep into it now, but I just want to put a little teaser out here, and I want to use it to talk about self-awareness. So if you have, Patrick Lencioni says that every one of us, for the most part, most people have 2 of these are your working genius. 2 of these are frustrations for you, and 2 of these are what he calls competencies, that you do okay with them. They're not your genius. They don't frustrate you. You can do them. They're kind of in the middle. Wonder are people that love to ask questions, that love to brainstorm and dream, and even push back, not to be difficult, but to really get an understanding on things like, are we asking the right questions? Are we believing God for the right things? Are there better ways that we can do this? These are your wonderers. Your people with the working genius of invention, they like to create things and make things. They're inventors, right? That's where we get that word. So they love to launch products. They love to launch programs, new ministries. They love to get new things off the ground. Your galvanizers, all right, I forgot one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've only got 5 here. There are 6. Okay, there is a D in here. D is discernment. Sorry if I messed you up if you're taking notes. Discernment. So we've got WIDGET. Those are the 6 working geniuses. Discernment. If somebody has discernment, then they're the ones that are able to process, is this a good idea or not, right? So your inventors love to create things. Your discerners are the ones that are like, let's process this. Are we asking the right questions, right? Have we counted the cost? Those are your people with discernment. Your galvanizers, people with the strength of the working genius of galvanizer, they love to come alongside people and make things happen. They're the ones that can come alongside people on the team and cheer them on and answer their questions and set them up to succeed. Okay. People with the working genius of enablement. Enablement, and Patrick Lencioni talks about this. It can seem like a negative word, like you're an enabler, can be a negative thing. But in the context of working genius, it's a positive thing. Enablers are people that just make things happen, right? They just jump in and they work. They are your workers. They do things. They don't care to be in the spotlight. They're happy just to get things done and to make things happen. And then if you have the working genius of tenacity, these are your people that are able to get things done. They're tenacious. They're your finishers. Now, we've had our team at KidzMatter do the working genius. And whenever we bring new people on, we have them do the working genius because it shows us the makeup of our team. One thing I really like about working genius over Myers-Briggs, or other personality assessments are this. I feel like working genius really does a good job at showing you how the different personality types work well together or don't work so well together. So when we did this, Beth and I found something very interesting. I found that my two geniuses, I'll put an R here, are invention and tenacity. So I love to create things, and then I love to get things done and push things over the finish line. My wife Beth, her geniuses are wonder and discernment. Wonder and discernment. Now, what we found interesting when we did this was, guess what my frustrations are? My frustrations are wonder and discernment, and Beth's frustrations are invention and tenacity. And we're like, man, it's no wonder, why we have friction sometimes, because you're wanting to work in your genius and I get frustrated by that, right? But you're right, Stacey, that is a good balance. So, but we balance each other out in that regard. Now, when we did this with our entire team, we found out we got a good mix of people. We had only one galvanizer on our team. And so we decided, like, as we bring new people on our team, we need to make sure we have some galvanizers. So here's my point. This is not a working genius workshop. My point is that you need to be self-aware, and I need to be self-aware. I need to understand my strengths. I need to understand my weaknesses and not be insecure about my weaknesses. Okay, I'll be one of the first ones to tell you, you start going into wonder conversations with me and my brain shuts down, right? I don't enjoy sitting around and talking about, are we asking the right question about this and this? And have we ever thought about this? Because I just want to do things, right? But if I recognize that, right, I can build that muscle. I can appreciate people who do have that genius and surround myself with those kind of people. So you've got to, as a leader, be self-aware. Look at the 5 points that I put on page number 63. If you're going to be self-aware, page 63, you've got to see yourself the way God sees you. You have to seek feedback. And I put in here, when I was a young leader, I often took feedback personally. The older I've gotten, the more I have come to recognize that feedback does not have to be negative. Like, I need to embrace that, right? And negative feedback does not mean that somebody is attacking me. Okay. Took me a while to learn that the hard way. Number 3, take personality assessments. There's where I talk about Myers-Briggs, Working Genius, so on. 4, practice self-evaluation. Constantly evaluate. How am I doing? And then 5, get a coach. I'm so glad this is not one-on-one coaching, but something like KidzMatter Pro may be the next best thing to one-on-one coaching, because you're part of a community where although we do group coaching sessions, you're part of a community that's learning and growing together. Now, if you have any questions, we're going to get to Q&A in 10 or 15 minutes. Use that Q&A button on your screen. Again, you don't have to wait until the very end to ask your questions. All right, so progress point number 1 is cultivate self-awareness if you're going to be a healthy leader. Now, go to page number 64 in your book. Progress point number 2 is building rapport. Building rapport. What do I mean by building rapport? I'm talking about growing those interpersonal skills. Now, look at the drawing on page number 65 with the magnet. Some of you don't have your book yet. Here we've got a magnet, okay, that says rapport. Here we have success. If you want to attract success, it is going to require you building rapport with people, growing those interpersonal skills. Jesus did this. He spent 3 years of his life showing us how to connect with people, how to build rapport with people. And he had, just a great way of connecting with people one-on-one. And you and I must do that. Now, on page 66 of the book, I talk about the 4 groups of people that you work with. Jim Weidman talks a lot about this. You might think in kids ministry that you primarily work with kids. You're a kids ministry leader. That's true. But if you look at page number 66, you'll see kids are only one of 4 groups of people that you work with. Okay. So yes, you work with kids, but those kids don't bring themselves to church, do they? Right? No, you work with parents. And by the way, that is also a key, we know, to discipleship is, for kids to become fully devoted followers of Christ, it requires more than what we can do at church and in our church schedule and programs. We've got to equip mom and dad to be the primary spiritual leaders at home. In our office, we talk a lot about PPSL, parents as primary spiritual leaders. A lot of parents want to drop their kids off at the church and let the church be the primary spiritual leader. Well, we can be spiritual leaders, but the primaries need to be mom and dad. Now, so this is another group. Then you've got your team. So you don't do everything by yourself on Sundays. You've got a team. That's a 3rd group of people that you work with. And the 4th group of people is leadership, your pastor, leadership at the church. So kids are only of 1/4, okay? They only represent 25% of the people that you work with. If you think about the parents, your team, leadership. And so if you're going to lead a growing healthy ministry, now we take an entire month of KidzMatter Pro to talk about building rapport. So we're in today's masterclass, we're kind of high leveling this. You can go back and go to, when you're on the membership site, go to the leadership archive down toward the bottom, and then you'll see mastery modules, master classes, members only podcasts on this topic of building rapport with people, where we go deeper. And we'll do it again next year, but from different angles. You've got to make sure that you are connecting with all 4 of these groups of people. I have found, and I talk about it in the playbook, a majority of people who fail in their ministry fail because they don't know how to build rapport with people. They lack good interpersonal skills. They lack people skills. Okay, they lack people skills. And it's on page 67 of your book. If you want your ministry to shine, polish your people skills. If you want your ministry to shine, polish those people skills. Now look at page 68 and 69. When you get into the book, we have an assessment. I hope that you will do this assessment. We have a lot of assessments written into the KidzMatter Playbook. I hope that you'll do this assessment to help you think through what area do I need to grow in? Is it with building rapport with leadership, with my team, with the parents, with the kids? And you're at a great spot to learn how to build rapport. You're part of KidzMatter Pro, part of this community. Okay, go to page 70. Let's talk about the third progress point, which is growing your communication skills. Growing your communication skills. Here's the thing, guys and girls. Leaders are communicators. Just the way it is. John Maxwell, has written all kinds of books on this. One of my favorite Maxwell books is Everyone Communicates, but Few Connect, right? So the thing is, if you're a leader, communicating is just part of your job. Leaders communicate. Doesn't mean that you're connecting, right? It doesn't mean that you're communicating effectively. So this is what this habit or this progress point is all about. If you want to lead a growing, healthy ministry, you've got to grow those communication skills in 4 areas in particular that we talk about in the playbook. You see them on page 71. You've got to sharpen your active listening skills. And then you've got to develop those nonverbal skills. And then you've got to be clear and concise. And then you've got to incorporate technology if you're going to grow as a leader. Now, what about sharpening your listening skills? This is so important because as leaders, I think especially as pastors, pastors are great people. I love pastors. I work with pastors every day. Most pastors I know, and I would say this to them, and they would chuckle because they know there's an ounce of truth to it, maybe more than an ounce. Most pastors love the sound of their own voice. And we just are talkers by nature. We love to talk and pontificate from the mouth. It's just who we are. And we are also problem solvers. And so the nature of leadership is solving problems, putting out fires. And so it's easy as a communicator to be the one that, by default, you do all the talking because you're good at that anyway. And you put out problems. But if you're going to grow as a communicator, you've got to learn to listen. You've got to learn to grow those active listening skills. My grandmother as a kid, I still remember her saying this. Ryan, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, and you know why, right? So you could listen twice as much as you talk. So make sure that you're growing those listening skills. What about those nonverbal skills? We talk about those on page 74, those nonverbal skills. And we got a bunch of them listed on this graphic. Mirroring, listening, touch, tone, proximity, posture, gestures, facial expressions, eye contact, appearance. What about being clear and concise? I'm going out of order, but now I'm back on page 73. Being clear and concise. Keep it simple, right? Especially when you're talking to kids. But, I think about it. I think some of the most effective communicators are people that have learned how to keep it simple. That doesn't mean they don't have anything to say. And it doesn't mean they're shallow and that there's no depth or substance. But they have learned how to avoid all the jargon and the extra words, and they keep it clear and concise. And then number 4, incorporate tech. Okay? We live in this tech world, and I hope that you're embracing technology. Those of you on Zoom, pat yourself on the back. You're embracing technology, okay? But I'm talking about even things like text messaging, doing Slack channels, communicating on social media, email, all of these digital ways that we have to connect with people. All right, incorporating technology. Now, let's go to the next progress point. And with this one, we will close and we will move to Q&A. And that is boosting your productivity. Boosting your productivity. You've got to learn to be productive. There's a big difference between being busy versus being productive. I'm sure every one of you are busy. Doesn't mean that you are being productive in what you are doing. One of the best little booklets that you can read, I think I talk about it in the book, is a little booklet by Charles Hummel. Maybe I don't talk about it in here. Yes, I do. On the bottom of page number 79. First column, bottom of page 79. Charles Hummel's book, The Tyranny of the Urgent. Okay? And here's what he says, that there are important things to do, and there are urgent things to do, and we feel that tension every day and every hour of the day. Okay? Urgent things, emails, notifications on my phone and on my devices, a visitor that knocks on my door, comes by the house, little tasks, errands, little miscellaneous to-dos, all these urgent things. Text messages. Did I talk about text messages? People asking me all these random questions because I'm in charge. We can fill our day with urgent things only to find that we have left out the important things. Okay? So get your hand, and by the way, Jesus modeled this. Jesus often said no to urgent things so that he could say yes to the important things. Charles Hummel talks about this in his little booklet, and it is literally a little booklet that you can read in about 30 minutes, called The Tyranny of the Urgent. Next time you're on Amazon, don't buy one, buy 5, because I promise when you buy one and read it, you're like, dang, I wish I had one of these to give this person, my pastor, and they're only a few dollars. So get several of them, pass them. It's a good little book on helping you make sure, and he even encourages you to keep track of your schedule for a week or two, and you'll be surprised how much of your schedule is filled with urgent things versus important things. Here is something that if you have absorbed much of my content, you've heard me teach this before. And I'll wrap up with this. And then we'll move into Q&A. And it is my 80-15-5 rule. Okay? 80% of what you do, anybody could do. In other words, if I looked at your schedule, if I looked at your to-do list, if I looked at the things that you felt like I need to get done this week in ministry, I'm not necessarily talking about things at home with your kids or, but I'm talking to run your ministry. 80% of what you do, anybody else could do. 15% of what you do, anybody else could do if they have training. If they have training. Okay, maybe you work in Planning Center every week. Somebody else could do that if you trained them on Planning Center. Maybe you set up, the TVs every week. Somebody else could set up the TVs every week. A Load Pro presenter. Maybe you run the copies. Somebody else could run those copies if you train them on how many to do every week and whatnot. This means that 5% of what you do, only you can do. And if you're going to lead a growing, healthy ministry, KidzMatter Pro members, this is progress point number 4. You've got to stay productive. You've got to make sure that you have capacity for that 5% to do the stuff that only you can do. I always get asked the question, what do you mean? What's the stuff that only I can do? Well, everybody's different. I don't know what what your ministry context looks like. I know vision, you can't delegate vision, casting vision, spending time with your leadership team. You can't really outsource that, because you're the leaders. Sharing those stories with your pastor, it's you, because your team doesn't have access to your pastor like you do. Maybe it's outlining, the vision for the curriculum over the next 12 months, or what do I feel like God wants these kids to get this summer? That's the kind of stuff that only you can do. But if you are so busy doing stuff that everybody else can do, or other people can do with training, that you don't have time for that 5%, okay, you are going to find that you get hijacked over here. You've got to make sure, progress point number 4, that you are staying productive. And I talk about that in the playbook, page 78, getting organized, page 79, setting priorities, and page 80, delegate and outsource, which is actually what I plan on talking to you about today under this point. But my brain went to this 80-15-5. Delegate and outsource, page 80 are the two of the most important words that you can learn in leadership. What can I delegate? What can I outsource? What can I delegate? What can I outsource? Too many KidMin leaders are doing everything themselves, only to find that they're exhausted, they're burnt out, they want to break, and they think it's the pastor or the lack of support, or it's the lack of resources. When the reality is, I'm not trying to be harsh, but you're doing way more than you ought to be doing, because you aren't delegating. Delegating is finding capable people and giving them responsibilities. Now, I know sometimes you're going to drop the ball. Sometimes you're going to get left holding the bag, but you've got to delegate if you want to grow your capacity. If you want to have time back to the other side of this board for that 5% only you can do. And then what can you outsource? Maybe you don't need to be building the website or doing the videos, making the videos or making the slides. Maybe there's somebody else that you can outsource that to. Page 81, and we'll move into Q&A. I love this Drucker quote: until we can manage our time, we can manage nothing else. Until we manage our time, we can manage nothing else. Well, friends, what's helped you today? I would love to get some feedback from you on, Ryan, here's my big takeaway. Like, boy, if there's something I need to work on today or in the weeks to come, it's this. What is it? Would you share that with me in the chat? I would love to get some of your feedback. If you have any questions, I am trying to find my Q&A button. Okay, there it is. Good. We've got some questions that have come in. Use that Q&A button if you have a question. And once we punch through these questions, we will call it a masterclass and we'll resume on Friday. Randy, how do I identify tasks that I should delegate versus those I need to handle personally? Good question, Randy. So let's go back to this, okay? How did you word that, Randy? Identify tasks I should delegate versus the ones I need to handle personally. I think to me, it goes back to the question of what tasks can only I do? What tasks can other people do? Randy, you might be making it too hard. Don't make it too hard. You don't need to be the one getting the small group basket or the small group totes and baskets ready every week. Somebody else in the church can do that, I promise. You don't need to be the one standing over the photocopier for 30 minutes every week. I would rather you spend 30 minutes every week spending time with your leadership team, or writing some words of encouragement, or sharing some stories of what God's doing in your ministry. Those are things that only you can do, okay? Running a copier is something that anybody can do, right? And if you're really stuck on something, I guess, it just depends on what it is that you're thinking about or what's on your to-do list. But most of us just kind of have a gut instinct, like, this is something that only I can do. This is something that somebody else could do if I trained them. I know that's going to take some time on the front end, but the back end payoff is going to be big. Or this is something that anybody else can do, really with very little training. Great question, Randy. All right, here's our next question. Cindy, what systems or processes can help me train and empower my volunteers for more? Okay, so yeah, and we'll talk more about this, Cindy, on Friday. But okay, sorry about that. We'll talk more about this on Friday when we get to your team. But your question is, what systems or process can help me train or empower my team to take on more? You know, Cindy, the first thing that comes to my mind is the value of one-on-one training. And that one-on-one does not have to come from you. That one-on-one can come from your volunteers or a team leader on your team. Shadowing a lot. How many of you do shadowing when you onboard volunteers? I think onboarding a shadow is a great idea. If you have a new volunteer, let them shadow an existing volunteer for 2 or 3 Sundays. If you have a volunteer that you think has leadership potential and you want to see them do more, have them shadow, or I love, Angie, you says you partner, have them partner with another leader on your team. So I think there's a lot of value in one-on-one, in partnering or shadowing them, connecting them with an existing volunteer. Yeah, that's the first thought that comes to my mind, Cindy. And we will unpack this more because that is we'll dive into this when we get into the progress points of a healthy team on Friday. All right, Heather, how do I overcome the fear of relinquishing control? Heather, I get it. How many of you can relate to Heather? The fear of relinquishing control. Heather, sometimes it's difficult to relinquish control because maybe you've been burnt in the past. Maybe you're a perfectionist and you want things to be done just right. Maybe you're insecure. You know, a lot of times people don't delegate or, give things to their team because of insecurities. And if somebody does it better than me, then they're going to get the credit, or it's going to be a poor reflection on me. What I would say to you is that, Heather, how to overcome the fear of relinquishing control is to realize what is going to happen if you don't relinquish control. Okay? If you don't relinquish control, you're going to find yourself so busy. I keep going back and forth with these. You're going to find yourself so busy living in the 80-15 that you don't have time for the stuff that only you can do. And you're going to end up tired. You're going to end up burnt out. But the flip side is this, that when you really begin to allow other people to do these things, the 80 and the 15, there is joy that comes with building a team and seeing a team take ownership. And by the way, if you deal with insecurity, I'm empathetic toward you. And I understand a lot of people deal with insecurity. What's my pastor going to think if I'm not the one that does this and this and this? The reality is that one of the greatest things that you bring to your church and your leader, to your pastor, is your ability to build a team, right? So that my goal is always that this thing can run if I'm gone, because I've built a team. I want you to be able to be gone for a month and the children's ministry run, maybe even better than if you're there. But it runs. So many people in leadership in the church, if they're not there for a Sunday, things are horrible. And so they just feel like they can never get away. I don't want that for you. Okay, I don't want that for you. All right, I see 2 more questions. I'm going to punch through these. And then if you have any more, we'll take them. I want to look through the chat before we go. Jack, what are some cost-effective ways to outsource in a ministry setting? Okay. That's very good. Good question, Jack. So when we talk about delegating and outsourcing, you may not have a big budget to outsource your website to a company or to outsource video production, to a company. So a couple of thoughts come to mind. Number one, you can get a lot done on Fiverr, Fiverr, Fiverr.com. How did they get that name? $5. You can get stuff done. So, I have had videos made for $5. I've had posters made for $5. If you can't come up with $5, now you get into more complex projects and it's going to cost more than $5. But you can get a lot done on a shoestring budget on Fiverr. But then there are things too, like the youth group, teenagers. Maybe you don't have to build your website. Let a teenager in the church do it. You don't have to load the computer every week. There are teenagers that know the computer a lot better than you do, and I do, right? Maybe you don't have to do the social media. There's a young person, a college student that can do it for you. So look at young people. I would also go to the polar end of the spectrum. You've got young people. You also have senior adults, Jack. And two things that senior adults have that we often don't when we have kids at home and we're busy in ministry is they have time and they have money. Senior adults, for the most part, are the ones with the time and the money. And so how can I get senior adults involved in my ministry? When I get those senior adults involved in my ministry, their checkbook often follows. If they get excited and they realize there's a need, they'll write the checks. Okay. Paula, what should a to-do list look like? Very, very good. So we talked about productivity. Coming back to that's progress point number 4. You've got to stay productive. Your to-do list, here's what it needs to look like. It needs to look like something that works for you. And some people like to do, ledger sheets, notebooks where they are writing out to-do lists. And if that works for you, great. Some people like to keep their to-do list on Google Sheets. Some people like to keep their to-do list on an app like Todoist or something like that. Some people like to do stickies on their phone or notes on their phone. What you've got to do is you've got to come up with a system that works for you. What I would say is, here, I can turn this thing again. Okay. What I would say for you, who asked this, Paula, is whatever your to-do list looks like, it needs to answer these 3 questions. It needs to answer the question, what are my priorities today? Who are people that I need to talk to today? And then what are some things that I can do to move some, not task, let's use the word projects, 3 Ps. What are some things that I can do today to move some projects forward? Priorities, people, projects. So again, Paula, whether you do a notebook that you update every day or every few days, or a Google Sheet, or whatever you want to use to keep your to-do list, I love to organize it this way by the day. Okay, today, what are my priorities? Who are the people I need to connect with? And what can I do to move some projects forward? And then celebrate when you get that stuff done. All right. Well, friends, that is all the questions I'm seeing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the feedback. A couple quick announcements. Look in the chat. There is a link to the retreat. Those of you that received a golden ticket at the KidzMatter conference, you get 2 free tickets to the retreat happening in Indianapolis, April 29th and 30th. Everybody else, if you're on this call, you're a KidzMatter Pro member, you can come to the retreat for $99. And everybody else in the KidMin world, and you can bring a guest for $99. You can get 2 tickets for $99 each. KidzMatter Pro members. Everybody else, $250. Love to have you at our retreat. We will be back on Friday and then Monday next week at the same time, noon Central, 11 a.m. Central. And we're going to continue our KidzMatter Playbook Masterclass. If you don't have your playbook, go to KidzMatterPlaybook.com. You can get one shipped to you for the cost of printing and shipping. Friends, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to sign off. If you need anything, you be sure and let me know. Thanks so much for being a part of this community. We'll talk to you later.